We often hear the generic statement that drugs negatively impact our brain and body, which is why we shouldn't use them. Today, I'm going to explain how the body is quite literally changing, physically and psychologically, in response to large amounts of drugs in the body. So, before I dive into the lesson, I just wanted to explain some key words that you're going to hear. Dopamine is a pleasure causing signal in the brain. So, this means if you eat something like chocolate, your brain is likely to release dopamine, making you seek out this behavior again. Endorphins are pain stopping signals, which means that if you get hurt, your body releases endorphins to reduce pain. Receptors receive signals like dopamine and endorphins and translate these signals into a language that your brain understands. The most easiest and accurate way to describe drugs is to simply know that they generate signals. Today, I'm going to be focusing on two kinds of substances, stimulants and depressants. This slide has a short list of both, so feel free to pause it if you'd like. First, I'm going to be talking about stimulants. So, this is a picture of two brain cells. The green dots you can see between the two cells are dopamine. They send pleasure signals to the brain when they connect to one of the hook shaped things called receptors. Normally, reuptake pumps on the brain start to take this dopamine back into the cell. Stimulants go and block these pumps, which leaves an excess of dopamine signals between the brain cells. Since these dopamine molecules are freely floating, they can keep binding to the receptors over and over again, causing a constant feeling of pleasure in the brain. Depressants work similarly and increase the amount of dopamine in the brain. But in addition to this, they block pain signals in the body, acting as a substitute for endorphins, the natural pain stoppers. I've talked about how different drugs work and their effect on the body, but you might be wondering, how does this make someone addicted and chained down to the drug? First, the body stops producing as much dopamine and endorphins as now the drug is doing this for them. Activity of dopamine receptors decrease over time due to the excessive amount of dopamine present. It's kind of like how if you eat your favorite food every day, it doesn't taste as good anymore. The little yellow Pac Man shaped molecule is an enzyme that normally gets rid of dopamine in the brain. But now that there's more dopamine, the brain starts producing more of this enzyme to kind of counteract that. Dendritic spines grow onto brain cells to increase the number of dopamine receptors. And now the body is dependent on the drug to maintain its stability and homeostasis.